What's up? Nobody's in here yet. This is a live stream. If you are replaying this and watching it back, hope you're having a great day, great night, wherever you are, whatever time of day it is. So we are just going to hang out tonight, drink a beer, and talk about pre-spawn bass fishing lures. What's going on, guys? How are you guys doing tonight? Leave a comment on this live stream. Let's try and be a little bit more interactive this evening. Ray, it sounded like you were early. Not sure if you're one of the two people in here right now, but hope you guys are doing well. I'm going to hop on Instagram, get that going live right now as well. Riley, what up, dude? Doing pretty good, you know. Happy it's Friday. Going into the weekend, right? Do you have any plans this weekend? Hunting Fishing Obsession, what's up, man? Chris Ama 88, what's up? Cameron? CGAZ, what up? God, I should remember from last time that we talked, man. What's your name again? CG? Basketball Championship. Unknown Fishing, what's up? Sorry to those of you on Instagram. I've got my phone kind of sitting on the table here. You're going to get a little bit of a distorted view. Colin. God, I'm going to try and remember that moving forward, all right, man? Apologize. I did not look the beers up, but I did get your message. I'm sorry that I didn't have a chance. I told my wife about it, though. She thought it was kind of silly that we got into talking about beer and that your wife wanted to know about my favorite wine and such. So anyway, Ray, no, I'm not going to boot camp. Did need a haircut, though. Yeah, I had my hair was getting a little out of control, just like my beard is right now, too. Need to give that a trim. So anyway, hope you guys are having a great night. I'm drinking an Upslope Citra Pale Ale. Upslope is local here to Colorado. As I told you guys last time, I, am pretty big on local beer, at least here in Colorado. There's just so much good beer made here locally. Wine is a different story, and I am a little bit more of a snob when it comes to wine, and am not that much into organic and locally grown wine. So anyway, Dr. Pepper for Ray. I hear you, man. Dr. Pepper's a good one. You remember when Mr. Pibb was out? That felt like it was such a copycat. Bud Light, says Riley. What do you think about that new Bud Light seltzer? Man, I think that's kind of weird. But I was never into the seltzers. Bud Light is whatever. I was always kind of a Bud Heavy or a Coors Banquet type of guy if I'm drinking light beer. You think that seltzer's all right? What's up, guys? Sam Flores, Fishing Recovery, New England Bassin. How are you guys doing tonight? All you can get at Carowinds theme park. So you have to drink it all summer. What? Mr. Pibb or what? I didn't think it was still made. I prefer Coke. Just a straight up Coca-Cola if I'm drinking soda. I do like cherry Coke as well, but quit drinking 9 years ago. Magic Hat was the beer of choice. Yeah, Magic Hat's a good one. But good for you for quitting. Hope all is well. I quit smoking weed 4 or 5 months ago. due to the back breakage and the seizure. So apparently THC, marijuana can mess with your seizure threshold and potentially cause seizures. So better safe than sorry. Not smoking that ganja anymore, even though it's legal here in Colorado. I prefer smoking over drinking, quite frankly. I don't smoke cigarettes, anything like that. Day to time. I hear you. Absolutely. All right, guys. Brian's Fishing Adventures. What's up, dude? Hope you're having a good night. Let's talk about some pre-spawn bass fishing lures. This, I think, was Ray's request over on YouTube here. Kid Iraq got clean 10 years ago. That's what's up. Colin says 420. Yeah, man. I used to be big into 420. Not all day, every day, but yeah, definitely. It was a go-to. I ended up using it for one too many things. I still do partake every now and again. If somebody else has it, I'm not going to say no to it if it's passed my way. But yeah, I don't have a stash. I don't have a collection of pieces. It is what it is. Brian's asking, do you ever just do a regular video without being live? Yeah, man, I do. I just haven't had as much time as of late. So last year I did a little bit more recording when it came to how to rig videos and little tips and tricks when it came to storage and treble hook replacements. I am going to do a lot more of those videos here coming up this spring. Try to be a little bit more consistent in posting content, 5-10 minute videos that are straight on topic, not off subject like these live streams tend to be. So anyway, we're just hanging out for now. I'm hopping online and doing live streams when I've got the chance. My 2 young daughters go to bed between 7:30 and 8 o'clock here Mountain Time. My wife works nights 2 days a week, so it's just been convenient for me to hop on, chat with you guys, answer questions, talk about some of my favorite baits. As you can tell, I'm a tackle junkie, so I am going to make more targeted videos just with the intent to help teach people and grow this channel as much as possible. Over here on YouTube, you can tell you've got good info you can share. Well, what up, dude? What do you want to talk about? And what do you want to share? Colin, coming to chill with me one day. Absolutely, man. I'd love to. My wife and I would love to have you guys come stay at our house. Just outside Denver, Colorado. Go up to the mountains all the time. So, yeah, hit me up. Where in Arizona do you live again? Brian says he's got good info he can share. So, we're going to talk about pre-spawn for a minute tonight, / maybe an hour, and go through like 5 or 6 different categories of baits. Tucson, what up? Replace your front treble hooks with red. Absolutely, man. I'll show you a wiggle wart here soon. I like to do that on certain baits for sure. And that's a totally different topic altogether, but treble hook replacement, when to use EWG versus round bend, when to put a red one on the front, when to use the new VMC bladed treble hooks. So there's a lot you can do, when feather trebles are more necessary or make a difference. Tucson, two-stoned. Weed's legal in Arizona, right? Video Pescarias. How you doing tonight, man? Okay. Let's just talk about a little bit of background and no shit. Do I not have these? I do. Okay. Pre-spawn. Medical marijuana. That's it, man? Do you have a prescription? I thought Arizona was legal by now, but Bass will pinpoint on them more than anything when it comes to red hooks. I don't disagree. So pre-spawn bass fishing, guys. We are here middle of the winter here in Colorado. So this topic is a little bit premature for here and anywhere north of Colorado. But smacking bass, for example, not sure if you're still in here. He's not, but he lives in Vegas. Was saying last week that his Brazil, what up? Medical marijuana in Montana. Man, I thought more states were legal by now. It's a game changer, guys. Anyway, down south, out west, where it's warm, where it's deserty, it's pre-spawn is already on, bordering on spawn fishing. Bed fishing is right around the corner. So you got some killer bed tactics. Bed fishing, Colin? Well, we'll talk about bed fishing soon here. Ray saying, side note, had employees and customers literally adding jackhammers to their discount tackle shopping cart today. After he told him he learned about the site, saw the price. That's what's up, man. Yeah, you're going to hear about another bait, same price, retail and discount. If you don't follow me on Instagram, you'll hear lipless cranks, that Lucky Craft LV500. Anyway, it is winter time, and those bass are hanging out deep, lethargic, not eating much. They pick their spots. They're not moving, and it is just about time for pre-spawn in most areas. So they're going to start moving up, migrating, transitioning closer to spawning flats. And I don't have any OG wiggle warts, man. Someday I'll get into collecting those one by one. But no, I've got a bunch of regular wiggle warts. Just maybe 8 of them or so. But I try to keep a good variety of lures. I'm still in this stage of trying different things out. So as we're getting into pre-spawn and bass are transitioning, they are focused on eating, feeding up, moving toward spawning areas, right? So the bass are moving and they're feeding. What's cool is that you can find them grouped up. Once you find them, which sometimes it can take time to find them, they're not quite as predictable in their movements, especially depending on the weather and the water temperature of the body of water that you're fishing. Once you catch one, you can often catch a few. So that's something that you want to keep in mind when deciding what lures to throw. But I am going to try and cover lures that will work in both lakes and ponds, just because I fish both and I don't necessarily want to only talk about one versus the other. I know that there's a lot of people here that are strictly bank anglers, and there are a lot of people in here as well that have boats. So first, I want to talk about crankbaits. Shallow diving crankbaits, mostly. Medium diving as well. But the biggest thing with crankbaits is one with more of a subtle action, right? Generally speaking. So shad wraps are probably my go-to. Let's see if I can get this free without making such a freaking mess. So Rapala shad wrap in both the 5 and the 7 are killer. Here's a couple in the 7 that I like a lot. This is like the I think this color is called Delta. craw, and I forget what this one's called. It's got a green top and kind of that demon, brighter, almost glow orange belly. Shad Rap 7 is going to dive 10-ish feet. It's got a pretty wide range, but this is a balsa wood crankbait with a tight wobble. So very buoyant bait. Catches them good. One that's not talked about very much, but has come up a bit more recently because 6 Cents has an L-shaped bait in the Swank 77, I think it's called. Ray's asking, can you mention how you organize these lures as you go through them? What do you mean by that, man? How I organize them? Size, depth, color, or however. Not quite sure what your question is, but I'm going to talk about a little bit of a variety in each one of these topics. So first, I'm talking about tight wiggling crankbaits, and I like Rapala a lot for those options. So this is the shallow Shad Rap. It does have an L-shaped lip, not talked about very much. You know, one that I wouldn't recommend quite as much is the glass Shad Rap or the jointed Shad Rap. Got these in a few different colors, but mostly because of the noise. They're very obnoxious, and that can come into play at certain times of the year for sure. But I think in pre-spawn, bright colors and quieter baits tend to just do a little bit better, right? That subtle action, but more of a visual representation tends to do well. So the Shad Rap in the 5 and 7 sizes, and ideally in more of a reddish color, are ones that I would go to first and foremost. Right after that, I like the DT-4 and the DT-6. Again, by Rapala. So here's that same color, I think called, I should look these up while we're streaming, because I don't remember what it's called. Listen to the rattle on the DT-4 is one that I really like. Not too loud. It's just kind of one or two BBs in there. The 6, on the other hand, slightly bigger bait, still fairly narrow and subtle in action, but listen. Much different sound profile. Eddie Rocha wants to go live. I'm going to let you in for a minute. I'm going to chat. So DT-4 and DT-6 by Rapala. This demon color is one of my go-tos in the springtime. What up, dude? Eddie? Damn, dude. I don't know if that's your connection or mine. You're cutting out pretty bad. Eddie, why don't you request to jump back in? Corey likes the DT-4 over the 6. Any reason why specifically, man? Here's the thing with springtime cranking, and cranking in general, right? You want to fish a crankbait that dives to a depth a little bit deeper than the body of water that you're fishing. So if you're fishing in 5 foot of water, the DT-6 is going to be a little bit better. If you're fishing in 3 or 4 feet, the DT-4 is going to be a little bit better. But like I said, that profile and sound are just a little bit different. DT-4 is shaped more like a squarebill body. The DT-6 is a little bit bigger body, a little bit more aggressive. Eddie loves the red craws. Red craw colors, or are you talking about rock crawlers? If you want to request to go live again, you can, man. I'll try and bring you back in one more time, but we had issues with your connection, so I'm not sure what it was. So DT4, DT6 are probably my next two that I would turn to in terms of pre-spawn crankbaits. Now, then I would jump to something like a wigglewort. The wigglewort has a more aggressive action, but is just one of those that has stood the test of time and does remarkably well while digging bottom. Not sure what that sound was. Here's a little Norman middle end. That one works pretty well too, but the Storm Wigglewort, and no, Chris, or Colin, this is not OG. I don't have any OG pre-Rapala Wiggleworts. The Wigglewort is a small profile body with kind of a medium wobble to it, but just a dynamite action. Great for grinding bottom, especially around rocks. Got kind of a louder, obnoxious sound to it. I like brighter colors. This is a Texas craw, I believe it's called, like a see-through red. And here you go, Brian, if you're still in here. This is one example where I do change out the trebles to mustads, and so these are the smaller triple grips, I think in the size 6. Go to a standard one in the back and a red one in the front. Okay. Now, I'm not going to touch too long on any one of these baits because we could spend too long talking about these. Lastly, after the shad wraps, the DTs, and the wiggleworts, I'm going to go straight to a squarebill. I do like red squarebills too. The two squarebills that I use more than any are the Strike King 1.5, KVD 1.5, and the Lucky Craft LC 1.5. Okay. Now, what's interesting is you can get a standard squarebill with eyes on it, right? A red colored squarebill with eyes on it. That's not my deal. Typically, if I'm throwing a red crankbait, I want it to look like a crawfish. So here are two that have eyes painted on the back to emulate a real crawfish as it's swimming away. So the KVD 1.5 in the rattling version is killer. Love that. Now, I upsize the hooks on the KVD 1.5s. I think I go to a size 2 on the Mustad KVD triple grips. Really go big on that that EWG hook. But this is a rad color, tough to beat. And here from Lucky Craft, this is the TO craw. Very similar, right? You get that red back, orange belly. Crawfish pattern on the side. No eyes painted, but rather you get these two yellow dots that would suggest that they're eyes from a crawfish. So really cool deal there. The LC 1.5s do not have a rattle in them. I don't think they even make a rattling version. So that's why I like to have both. The standard KVD 1.5 and 2.5 are not rattling, but they do make them in rattling versions, and that is my preference most of the time. When it comes to red, as well as chartreuse and black, Cammy K, happy Friday to you. Hope you're doing well. Not sure if you're watching. jumped in and jumped out. All right. So those are the 4 crankbaits that I'm going to throw in the pre-spawn. Okay. Now, of course, flat side crankbaits are a great option too. Ray, I'm sorry I didn't answer your question. Do you recommend flat sides in one box, square bills in another, etc., or do you divide them up by diving depths? You know, that is a good question. I divide them up more by color and by bait style. So this box is all square bills, and then I've got red square bills, wiggle warts here, DT-4, DT-6, and then this is the Rapala BX Brat. Not sure if you guys know about the BX Brat or not. Posted about this bait on Instagram recently. It's a hybrid between, say, a standard square bill and the DT series. It's a balsa wood bait with a what do you even say, a resin or a copolymer finish on it. So it's got the buoyancy of balsa, but the durability of plastic, and it does have a square bill on it. So the BX Brat is wicked, and it's a newer bait. It comes in a 3-foot diver and a 6-foot diver. I like that 6-foot diver. It kind of bridges a gap, just a little bit deeper than a standard square bill, but gives a slightly more aggressive action than that DT-6. So there are times where that comes into play. Janko makes a killer square bill too. Check them out. I will. I don't know if it was you mentioning Janko last time. I still feel mixed about Janko, but I've changed my mindset on them a little bit. I think they've stepped it up a little bit more in the last year or two in terms of what they're making and doing their own thing, which is good. So for some reason, I left a couple of wiggle warts hanging out here. I'm gonna try and jam them back in the box as I'm closing this bee up. Let's move on. Okay, let's talk about the lipless crank for a hot minute. Covering water is a big deal. Lipless cranks are going to be probably your best bet in ponds and lakes, regardless of where you're fishing from, in the pre-spawn. They're great year-round too. Ray saying you have a few Crush 50Xs. Rambo Red, nice. If I had to guess, they're more like the size of a KVD 2.5. But I actually don't have any Crush 50Xs, for being honest. Brian's asking, or he said, Milliken Fishing did a video where he tore apart the lures. Yeah. You mean where he was giving the Guggen baits a hard time for copying 6 Cents or what? Oh yeah, he cut up a Excalibur, didn't he? Which I don't know why he would do that, but I do think it's pretty cool, and that's something that I try to make a point to do with jerk baits is make sure that I get at least every one in a clear type of pattern so that I can see the innards. Gosh, this flash is almost too aggressive. You can't quite see. But it's cool to be able to see the way that the bait is divided. And okay, there's one big ball in the front on the bottom. There's 2 small BBs in the back that have a lot of room to move. And there's 1 small BB in this top section up here. Together that gives that sort of sound on the suspending Quake 80. And then to be able to look at something like the red eye shad and see through it and count the BBs. There's 3 in the back little corner, and I think there's 8 or 9 in the main section. Like that a lot. What lipless falls the most true to you? Falls the most true? That's an interesting question. Again, that's an interesting question. I don't know about what you even mean by falls the most true. You know, just falls horizontally, or nose down, or shimmies on the way down. I don't even know what you're going after there. Sorry, Colin. LB500 is probably the best overall lipless crank on the market. Okay, I did mention this at the beginning of the stream, and I'll say right now to those of you watching, you can get this bad boy for 20% off. Retails for $15.99. That's an expensive lipless crankbait, right? Might be the most expensive on the U.S. domestic market. You know, the Jackal TN 60, 70 with the tungsten head, which I actually don't have any of, is almost that expensive. I think it's 15 bucks. But this LV500 is $15.99. You can buy it for $12.79 on Discount Tackle. And they've got like 10 different colors in stock right now. So LV500 is arguably one of the best. Okay, listen to the sound. It's ridiculous. Super loud. I think it's the loudest. I wish you could see how see-through this is, this perch color, but it's got a combination of glass and brass beads in the main section, and then it's got a few glass and brass smaller beads up front. Gives it a very unique, very aggressive sound, and it's heavy. Okay, this is bigger than a standard lipless crankbait, 3 inches long, 3/4 ounce, and so it excels in certain situations, especially down deeper. It's going to fall quicker. As Colin's saying, yo-yo an LV500 for best results. Of course, you can straight retrieve that bait just like any other lipless crank, and you'll catch fish. But with something like that that's so heavy, you're best off ripping it up off the bottom, as opposed to trying to burn it off of and barely catch the top of some grass. So there are different baits for different purposes. Let's talk about the opposite end of the spectrum, for example. The cotton cordell super spot. Totally different sound, first of all. Very light, like super high pitch sound. So they fall in a forward motion without going off track. The way you fish yours, rip them and let them fall. Yep. Yeah, so I'm not too worried about the way that they're oriented as they're falling, so much as the type of action that they have, how fast they fall, and how they sound, right? Otherwise, you get a pretty similar deal out of lipless crankbaits. You're going to get a lot of similarities between them. So the opposite end of the spectrum is the cotton cordell super spot. This is a lightweight bait and super cheap. I think you can get it for like $3 or $4. You can get them at Walmart. You can get them anywhere, and it's a pretty good bait. Thing is, it's so light in comparison. Should get my scale out. That it falls really slowly, and it's great for fishing over the top of grass beds. So there's a time and a place for certain baits over the others. I've heard that the Berkeley War Pig is absolutely killer. This is one that I don't have a lot of experience with. Just picked one up a few weeks ago. and got a couple DMs on Instagram. Very good feedback. This has a loud, it's kind of halfway in between a standard, say red eye shad, and a one knocker or a two tap. It's a deeper sound than most rattle traps, and it's very heavily weighted in the nose. So this one's going to fall nose first for sure, and just swim in a different way to where those hooks are going to be a little bit more protected. So you can fish these a little bit closer to cover. One that I feel mixed about, Livingston lures, their stuff is a little bit gimmicky, but also a little bit effective. I'm still on the fence about Livingston in general. There are certain baits that I think do make sense to implement their technology. Can you even hear that? It's very subtle. That croaking sound is quiet, but listen to this. There's almost nothing inside it. So you get a lightweight lure like the cotton cordell, and a quiet one, and it's just a little bit different. Let's talk about the red eye shad for a minute. If you tried the Quake Thud 70 or the Quake 70, have them but have not tried them, I'll show you what they look like and what they sound like. Here's the Quake 70. It's got a very standard profile body shape, quieter sound, huge hooks on it, comes standard, which I feel mixed about. It's almost overkill, but whatever. They're EWGs, and in general, I think that lipless cranks, just like squarebills, are ones that I would throw EWGs on. And in general, I think you're better off using as big of hooks as you can get away with. So it just feels overwhelmingly large, the size of these hooks that come stock on them. But that's one of the awesome things about 6th Sense lures, is that they make their stuff with awesome paint jobs and with great hardware straight out of the pack. So there are very few lures that they make that are not good. Now, this is the Quake 70. Here's the Quake Thud. That is kind of a quiet knocker. Thud is probably the appropriate term for it. So, same body size, same massive hooks, Quake 70 with the Thud. I like it. Definitely excited to see how it holds up against a couple of the other one knocker styles. Here are the other two popular ones on the market. If I can separate them. Golly, I might be all tangled up. Sorry if I'm missing questions. No Diggity, what up, dude? Desert Bass, what up? Nobody's in here right now. Jay Willie? Alright, so here's the Booyah. I believe it's called the hard knocker. Maybe it's the one knocker. Anyway, this is the old Excalibur lipless crank that Booyah is now making. So if you look closely, it is the exact same body shape. Awesome sound. Desert Bass, you're listening. Okay, man. Jay Willie, you sitting in bed or something? Now listen to the tungsten 2-tap. Very different sound. Ryan, my man, what's up, dude? Listen to the difference between the Booyah and the Strike King. Booyah, Strike King. Okay, higher pitched on the Booyah. Here's the thud. Very dull sound, right? Now here's one that is a lot less popular, not very well known, but you hear that tinny metal sound? This is literally metal knocking against the inside of the bait. This is the Lucky Craft LV 100? 200. LV 200. Kind of an unknown bait. So, one knocker, 2-tap, quake thud, all good baits to have in the arsenal. I think they are going to emulate crawfish just a little bit better than a standard lipless crank. So, when you're throwing red in the early spring, you might as well throw it into the rotation, especially if you're not getting bites on a louder, say, red-eye shad. Listen to that. Ronbo. What up, dude? You geeking out? All right, so one other that's worth noting is the original Bill Lewis rattle trap. Listen to that. Ray says he actually has he has a 2-tap red-eye shad. Chrome black. Yeah, you should try a craw color, but chrome black will work certain times of year. You know, that different sound profile is going to come into play if you're throwing a lipless, if you're fishing around grass, but it's going to be where you've got shad as the bait fish. So I don't have any 2-taps or 1-knockers in shad patterns, if we're being honest. Rattle trap is the original. It's the OG that has been around since the beginning of time. They're made a little bit differently now. They come with Mustad triple grip standard stock on them. This is more of a straight retrieve, not a yo-yo style bait. Okay, so keep that in mind. Some of these baits do better in certain scenarios. The Rapala Rip and Wrap is one that's a little bit underrated, but perhaps a little bit overpriced. I really like the red-eye shad as kind of a go-to, or the rattle trap, just because great value. You know, the Rip and Wrap has a different body profile, but sounds a lot like a red-eye shad, if you ask me. Well, wrong compartment there. Tell me those don't sound the same. So, something to keep in mind. You don't need a million rattle traps to do the job. Since we are talking pre-spawn, I'm not going to talk about many others. I do think it's worth having a 1/4 ounce size in your box. Just to downsize, give a slightly different sound, different profile. I've got some 1/4 ounce traps, but I almost exclusively throw the 1/2 ounce red-eye shad, rattle trap, and then that LV 500. So you can narrow it down to say 3 or 5 lipless cranks when all is said and done. Ray, never fished a lipless. Might want to get on that this spring, dude. I would say it's the #1 pre-spawn lure, and it's one of those that you can fish year-round. Cool thing about a lipless is you can fish it at any different depth, just by controlling your retrieve, waiting a little bit longer for it to fall to the bottom, fishing it slower, fishing it faster. You can really control the depth, and really good for ripping out of grass. Reaction bite, lipless crank is the tip top. Ryan says, seem to like the ones with the fins on top. That's fair. Colin says, Strike King and Rattle Trap are your favorites. Yeah, man. Me too. Honestly, last year, the red eye shad went on sale for like $3 at Cabela's and Bass Pro. I think I bought like 15 of them. So it's my go-to for sure. I have a few of the 2-tap and that the Booyah 1-knocker and those Quake thuds I look forward to using this year. But when it all comes down to it, I'm throwing the red eye shad and the rattle trap most of the time. I will throw the LV500 when fishing deeper or when I want to start with it, find fish quicker, or if I have a feeling where they might be, then I'll go to that first and yo-yo off the bottom before covering water. But otherwise, the red eye shad and the rattle trap are great for just a chuck and wind bait. They're affordable, high quality. They've got great sounds. They're just a little bit different from one another, and you can get them for $6 or $8 retail. So, Ray, does that answer your question mostly? If I had to pick 2 out of the ones that I mentioned, bro, for pre-spawn, I'm picking a red eye shad, and I know this isn't going to be a fan favorite, but the color that was the best producer for me last year was this green tomato. Okay, chartreuse bottom, red top. It's called green tomato. However, if you don't personally like that color, go with the Rayburn red. Okay, this is absolutely just a wicked red with some gold. It's a lighter metallic red color. I like it better than the Delta red or the chili craw, which I have all of those as well. But I'd go with the red eye shad, and then I'd get an LV500. If you're only going to get 2, you can cover your bases there. So the LV500 is more expensive, if we're being honest. It's $12.79, like I said, on Discount Tackle. Red Eye Shad 2-tap is just another version of the Red Eye Shad. Yes. Listen to that sound, though. Very loud. Same body, different internals. It's got the knocker instead of the rattles. Okay? Mason Dobbs wants to hop in. Colin says he likes a suspending jerkbait the most. You want to talk about jerkbaits next? It's what I got next on my list. Riley says the 500 works good. Personally, thinks it's definitely worth it. I would agree with that. So Ray, put them on your list. You don't have to buy them immediately, but Strike King Red Eye Shad in something like the green tomato or Rayburn red, and the LV500. Ideally in a red color, but since you are just buying one, you could get it in a shad pattern. I just got one in a bluegill pattern too. Depends on where you fish. Mason Dobbs, are you hopping in or not, dog? John's asking, do I fly fish? Yes, sir, I do. I'd say somewhere between a handful and a dozen times a year. Here in Colorado, do you know Colorado very well? What up, Hank? So, John, I go on a few guided fly fishing trips a year, and then I go to wade the river here in Colorado, a few hours west of here in the mountains. But fly fish with my dad and my brother mostly. All right, guys, jerkbait time. I am not going to show you all the jerkbaits in this box like I just did with the lipless, because that would take us forever. But I'm going to throw you a handful, okay? Now, you guys tell me right now if you want to talk about desert. I'm a really new jerkbait user. Strike King 200. Yeah, I'm more of a 3-hook bait type of guy myself. Shit. So I always opted for the 3-hook Strike King baits, and I've got 3 of the regulars and 3 of the deeps. Here's the thing with jerkbaits. Jerkbaits in general are very effective in cold water, very effective in clear water. Their effectiveness goes down as water gets warmer and as water gets murkier. Doesn't mean you can't produce very well on a jerkbait in warm water or murky water, but the way that you fish them has to be a bit different, obviously. So most of the jerkbaits in this box are either a clear variety or a shiny variety. So here's a good example. This is the I'm a Flit. Got one in a super flashy and one in a clear water color. As I told you, I like to buy jerkbaits that are clear so I can see the innards, see the way that they're made. I think it's really cool to see the inside of this I'm a Flit and see all these different sections of where the BBs are hanging out. There's all these different triangles. I'm a Flit, by the way, is one of the best value jerkbaits on the market. Really affordable for what you get. JDM quality. You fish it straight out of the pack, and it retails for $10. So I don't know what to tell you. That guy dives just a little bit deeper, just like the KVD standard jerkbait. We're talking 7 feet more or less with the KVD, and 6 to 8 feet on the I'm a Flit. I do throw the KVD 300 in the deep version, and the Lucky Craft Stacy 90 and the Pointer 100 deep. But there are, I think 2 or so standouts that I use during the pre-spawn. Smithwick Rogue. It's got to be a suspender, so you have to pay attention when buying these baits. But this guy retails for like $8. Very different. It's made in a bunch of different versions, but this one here is the Elite 8 suspending model. This one dives roughly 6 to 8 feet and suspends. What you'll notice about it is that the lip starts before the end of the head. It comes out below. That makes for a tighter wiggle on it. Better for kind of a straight retrieve. You can do a lot with this jerkbait, but Ryan, are those good? Yes. A They're actually good for multi-species fishing and are interesting. The Elite 8 comes with Gamakatsu treble hooks on them, and it dives a little bit deeper than others. They do make like a perfect 10. It dives 10 feet deep, but the Elite 8 is it's a sleeper for sure. You get that mid to deep diving depth, and it's a suspender. Most of the Rogues are floating baits, so you want to keep that in mind when looking at Smithwick, because those baits have been around a long time, and it's a good bait. Okay, don't get me wrong. Kind of like the Bomber Long A. Those baits stand the test of time and are worth having in your arsenal, but they're more situation specific. So I like the Rogue for pre-spawn because it's got a tighter action to it. The other one, which, you know, I hate to even recommend it, but is the Vision 110. And if you saw last week when I unboxed this, this is the matte shad color. Kind of a do-everything color. Absolutely love that color pattern. This one here is the HT Edo Tennessee shad. Both of these are silent. So the Vision 110 silent is a sleeper. The Vision 110 regular is a very loud knocker in it. But the action is killer. Pretty much year round, but very good in the spring. So it does more of a dance and does more side to side than forward action. Gotta have it in your arsenal, quite frankly. Tough to beat a Vision 110. A few that I'm excited to throw more of this year are like the 6 Sense Provoke 106 and the Jackal Re-Range. But I have my jerkbait box organized, Ray, by diving depth more than anything. So in the back here, I've got my deep divers. These guys are going to go, 10 and 12 feet deep. Over here with the I'm a Flit and the KVD jerkbaits and the Rogues, like I was just talking about, those guys go 6 to 8 feet deep. Then in the middle here, the Lucky Craft Lightning Pointer 98 XR is a sleeper of a bait. Okay, most people would know about the Lucky Craft Pointer 100. Okay, killer bait, very loud, great action, but it's got 2 hooks on it, and it costs $16. So not necessarily your best bet all the time, but it catches a lot of fish. So I do have like 6 of them in my box, and believe in it for sure. But they now make it in a 3-hook version. The Fish Addict, you're too broke for Lucky Craft? No, man, this is why I wanted to show you this bait right here. This is the Lucky Craft Pointer, the Lightning Pointer 98 XR. Okay, look at how the tail goes thinner. You got more of an edgy body profile, and listen to the sound. You get a different sound, kind of a deeper, more subtle knock. You don't get the high pitch and all the rattles inside it. So it almost reminds me of the sound that you get out of like a Rapala X wrap. Okay. Here's one. Can I not get tangled? So check this out. You're going to get a great casting distance because of that weight transfer, but as it's darting through the water, that weight may or may not shift. And side to side, you get a very subtle, quieter noise. So, Rapala X Wrap retails for like $9. Great value bait. 2 hooks, one with a feathered treble on the back. It's got an internal foil, so the color patterns last forever. And the Lucky Craft lightning pointer retails for $10. Dude, can't beat that price. You say you're too cheap for Lucky Craft, but it's not like the standard pointers. You're not paying $16 a bait. Plus, maybe you ought to check out discounttackle.com, dude, and see what kind of deals you can get. That lightning pointer is $8. So, what jerkbaits are you throwing? If you're throwing KVD, yo, 3, 2, 1, I'm going to time out. Hop back in with me, guys. Can't believe we're an hour in, homies. To the 8 of you guys on YouTube, thank you for watching. I'm restarting my live stream over on Instagram because we timed out. We're already an hour in. This here is the Rapala Shadow Wrap Deep. Shadow Wrap actually is a sinking bait. Shadow Wrap Deep dives some 6 to 8 feet. Maybe not even quite. Maybe it's a 4 to 6, but then like I said, it's a slow sink. So I do like a lot of Rapala baits. I think they're an awesome value. The 3 that I throw the most are the X Wraps in the size 8 and 10. The ripstop in both sizes. The I think it's in like a 9 and an 11. And lastly, that shadow wrap that I just showed you, but in the deep, because the standard shadow wrap only dives some 2 to 4 or 3 to 5 feet. Ray's saying time flies. Yeah, man. Imagine how long it would go if we were just sitting around a campfire right now. Yeah, we'd chill until 2 in the morning talking about baits. So anyway, I'm going to try and speed this up, not talk about jerk baits for too much longer. The Spromix stick, Jackal re-range. These guys don't dive quite as deep. We're talking 3 to 5 feet for most of them. Fishing Kyle, can I get one? Can you get one what, bro? Colin says, I throw Duo. Tried all those. You favor Duo Realis. I respect that. Thank you for the opinion. Love to know your thoughts. I don't have any Duo Realis jerkbaits, but do you throw the 110 or the 120? What is your preference? And why? Because that's enough to get me curious and wanting to try them. So I'm going to wrap up jerkbaits there and say that the 2 that I would probably recommend first and foremost for pre-spawn are going to be that Smithwick Rogue Elite 8 suspending jerkbait with a tighter action, and the Vision 110 from Megabass. Probably in the silent version, but I'd throw the standard before the silent. Then after that, if your budget is what's influencing your decision, then you can totally mix it up. You know, I've got a whole range here, but I think the KVD jerkbait is tough to beat value-wise. I think they're $9 or $10. So if you're looking for value, I would recommend like 4 jerkbaits. Okay, KVD 300. It dives about 7 feet deep. 6 Sense Provoke 106X. It dives 4 to 6 and is a bit louder. Has more of like a Vision 110 profile, body style, and noise to it. But it costs like $11, something like that. That Lucky Craft Lightning Pointer 98, that I just showed you guys retails at $10. And the Rapala X Wrap. I mean, can't go wrong with those guys. Ah, the I'm a Flit. Sorry to put 5 in your hands. The I'm a Flit. So, Colin, tell me about, you prefer the smaller ones. You go for more of a finesse, always suspending. So what size then? Because I do throw smaller ones as well. I like a good 78 size from Lucky Craft, or the Rapala. It's the 8, but would be like an 80 size. Here's one that I just got that's brand new this year. It's not a new bait, but it's new for me. And it's totally JDM. Not even going to tell you guys. It's out of your budget. Ray, you only own 6 cents ones. And Rapala. Definitely can't jerkbait fish. That said, you always hear about the duos. Well, if you've got 6 cents in Rapalas, it's a good start. The Husky Jerk is a good one too. I didn't necessarily want to talk about it because there's overlap with the Rogue, and I don't fish it as much. It's more of like a trolling style lure. Good for walleyes for sure. Colin says he prefers smaller ones. Yeah, I already read that, dude. I'm not caught up. Kate Stevens, what up, dude? 6 cents Provoke 106 or the Lucky Craft Pointer? Yes, Amal. Look up the Rosante 77. Interesting. I don't think I've even heard about the Rosante. You set up bat traps and use them for bait? I don't even know what that means, dog. Okay, that dual reality, it looks sweet, Colin. I'm going to give it a closer look, maybe even put it on my wish list on Tackle Warehouse. Fish Addict, what are you talking about? You set up bat traps and use them for bait. It means what it says. I wish I knew what that meant then. Bat traps. What do you put in the bat traps? Where you catch bats and use them as bait? I don't even believe what you're saying. You use bats for bait. Get out of here, dog. How do you rig a bat? What kind of hook are you putting a bat on, man? Yeah, he's got to be drunk. I've seen that bat lure. Who's that, Savage Gear? Who makes the bat lure? I'm not about to throw something that crazy, though. All right, moving on. Let's talk chatterbaits and then swim baits, and we'll kind of finish there. I'm not going to talk about spinner baits or jigs nearly as much tonight. We are talking reaction baits, pre-spawn baits, and that's kind of the focus of this conversation. Just because, as I said, in the pre-spawn, fish are moving up, they're feeding up. That is their focus, and so your focus ought to be covering water and finding schools of fish more than anything. It's not necessarily the time of year to slow down and use finesse tactics unless you know exactly where those fish are. If you're fishing on small bodies of water or something like that, then it is what it is. Let's talk about night crawlers. How drunk are you, man? We're talking lures, artificials. I don't throw live bait for anything. Okay? Juggernaut, what up, man? Will Perriman, my dog. As I just said, we're not going to talk about spinner baits, but I hear a red spinner bait slays. So let's talk about, instead of a red spinner bait, let's talk about a red chatterbait. This right here is the Heights Hot Craw. What up, Will? Heights Hot Craw. Z-Man Jackhammer Chatterbait in the 3/8 ounce. Maybe it's the 1/2 ounce. This one's 3/8. I threw the 1/2 ounce a ton last year. I've got it in a different box. Got like a go-to box for jackhammers specifically. So here it is. You can see this head is beat up just from grinding it on bottom. I actually fished this like a lipless a lot last year in early pre-spawn. Would pitch it out there. This is a 1/2 ounce, and let it settle to bottom, and then I'd yo-yo it, and caught a lot of good fish just with that standard yo-yo style retrieve near laydowns and other pieces of key cover off the ends of points, and like this bait a lot. Okay, pretty aggressive red color on bottom and like a green pumpkin on top. Similar color, different bait. Strike King Thunder Cricket, Falcon Lake Craw, also in the 1/2 ounce. Instead of the Turbo Craws by Z-Man, I use the Rage Menace grub most of the time. I use that Rage Menace grub for a trailer on so many different things. And Fish Addict, let what bake in the sun? What are you talking about? Fish Addict, you talking about letting bats or night crawlers bake in the sun? You crazy. Will Perriman just got some spot sticker spinnerbaits. Man, there's a reason we're not talking about spinnerbaits tonight, and that is mostly because it's not really my jam. You know, I've maybe got 10 or 15 spinnerbaits to my name, and I rarely throw them. Now, I like to branch out, as I've told you guys before. There are a few kind of one-off spinnerbait type of lures, kind of bridging the gap between either spinnerbaits and Alabama rigs, or bridging the gap between spinnerbait and a swim bait, you know, with like an underspin, something like that. So, Smacking Bass, you're back. What up, dude? Not sure if you're still in here or not. Will Perriman says, I got 3 of those jackhammers in that color. Yeah, definitely worth having a few in the box. So, this one is unused and in a 3/8 ounce. And looks like it's the only other one in that color that I've got. Psych. Got one unopened in a 1/2 ounce. So, I also have 3 in this color and love it. 2 in the 1/2 ounce, 1 in the 3/8. 1/2 ounce for more of a yo-yo retrieve, 3/8 for more of a chuck and wind style retrieve. So, speaking of, those are probably the 2 chatterbaits that I'm going to throw 90+% of the time, is the jackhammer and the thunder cricket. Just due to components, you're going to get the fastest startup time, the highest quality blade, and the best hooks. You know, skirt is a little bit of a factor, but not much. I think the blade and the hook are the most important thing. And then, of course, you get down to paint jobs of the head, paint job of the blade. Those things do matter. But the jackhammer has that 5/0 Gamakatsu flipping hook, and the thunder cricket has a 5/0 owner jungle hyperwire flipping hook. Smacking Bass Thunder Cricket worth the hype? It's hard to say how much it's hyped up, but yes, it's worth it, dude. That hook is unbeatable. And here's the difference between the 2 of them. I wouldn't be able to show you just by doing it here. Listen. The jackhammer is loud, okay? Thunder Cricket is not as loud. I don't know if you guys can hear that right now as I'm doing it, but oh, Fish Addict, you're real funny. It's not live bait if you're letting your night crawlers bake in the sun. Smacking bass got that baby duty, but you're here. I hear you, man. Will Perriman caught some of your largest bass on spinner baits. Yeah, and honestly, I noticed, like, when watching MLF recently, all those dudes are throwing spinner baits, man. So I know it's something that I need to go backwards in time and throw a spinner bait more frequently, but for some reason, it's not my jam. I just don't love them, but they're fish catchers for sure. Strike King all the way. Yeah. I don't know. I like Strike King as a brand a lot, but I think the Z-Man Jackhammer is the best, period. Not only does it have a hand-tied skirt, which is way better, but the blade is thicker. The noise it puts off is much louder. Paint in the eyes are a lot more durable. The hook is just as good, and I've just had better results on it. It's one of those baits that, like, it's so loud that I think a lot of the bites that you get are because the fish are so irritated at the sound. They're just trying to get it to shut up, quite honestly. Juggernaut. Jackhammers are the way to go, no doubt. And throwing a Kraken craw for a trailer. Okay. Guggen baits, Kraken craw. I think that's a little bit aggressive for this time of year. That's a big reason that I throw the Rage Menace grub. Okay. You get kind of an in-between action. I would also throw something like a Zoom Z craw. Okay. You get those flapping craw legs, but without so much action like you'd get out of a Kraken craw or a Rage craw. Even a Rage bug is going to put out some decent action. So I would go with the Bandito bug before a Kraken craw if I were you, but to each his own. Will Perriman, appreciate it. Yeah, Smacking Bass. Thunder Cricket is it's definitely worth having. I will be stocking up more on them this year. Here's a little piece of advice. You can get them for less than $10 a pop on 2 different websites. DiscountTackle.com, however, they're like sold out at the moment. Or Van Dam Warehouse. Okay. I don't know how or why, but Kevin Van Dam must have bought like a few thousand of them before they came onto the market at the Classic last year. But they were on sale, I think, for $10.99 originally, and then within a few weeks, they freaking jumped up in price to $13.99, and that's their retail price these days. So for some reason, Van Dam Warehouse has left that $10.99 retail price for the last year. And because KVD is sponsored by Strike King, you can get all Strike King products for 10% off there at any time. So that Thunder Cricket you can get on Discount Tackle. They discount all of Strike King products by 30%, and you can get it on Van Dam Warehouse. So for like $9 something, definitely worth it. Will Perriman says that Cricket is just another Z-Man chatterbait. Yes, it is. This is another topic for a different day. You know, that I would say imitation is the best form of flattery. This is one example where Strike King hooked up with Z-Man and got this connection licensed. So, yeah, they are using Z-Man's patent to make this bait. This is a legitimate chatterbait, not a bladed jig, vibrating jig. You know, that we do have to call a lot of other baits. You know, the Strike King Rage Blade is a bladed jig. All the other baits out on the market are bladed jigs. The Picasso bladed jig, even though it's got a quick startup time. Everything that's not a Z-Man is a bladed jig, not a chatterbait. Now the Thunder Cricket is a chatterbait, so pretty cool deal there. They're not calling it a chatterbait because they don't want people to be confused, but yeah, they're paying, just like the Guggen boys are paying Steve Parks and Ragetail for the Bandito bug. You know, they use that patent with the flange craws. So I don't know about the Kraken craw, but the Bandito bug definitely uses that Ragetail patent. Remember those interweb guys I mentioned? No, Ray, what are you talking about, dude? So one other bait that I'm going to throw as an X factor, okay, to those of you watching, I mentioned the jackhammer, mentioned the Thunder Cricket. One other I'm going to be throwing this year take forever is the Freedom Z-Man chatterbait CFL. Okay, this is a football head chatterbait. Better yet, it's a swing head jig chatterbait combo. Absolutely crazy. So Ray, yeah, this dude baking worms in the sun. Absolutely crazy. He's not in here anymore, so we don't have to worry about him trolling us. Let's just move on from that dude. But the Freedom chatterbait is sick. This new CFL football head with a zinc coating on it, I think, is a potential game changer. It's going to be totally different, and it's going to be awesome for fishing down deep. So I do like mixing up my retrieve with chatterbaits in general. Like I said, I'll yo-yo a heavier weight jackhammer in a red color to mimic a crawfish, but I also like to burn and stop a chatterbait or a Thunder Cricket. Now the CFL football head chatterbait is going to be one that you're fishing like a swing head. You know, you can swim it on bottom and bang it off of rocks, and it will deflect, and it's just going to be like a swing head, but you're going to get the vibration of that blade. I mean, there's nothing like it on the market. It has a finesse cut skirt and short shank hook. Throw a little creature bait on there, swim it low and slow, and I think you're going to pick up some interesting bites. So that is one that I'm working into the market. Top fishing deals. What up? Like what you're about. Not sure if you're still in here, but I saw your website. A lot is pointing to discount tackle. Total Wolf Den. Whopper ploppers, yay or nay? Yay. Whopper ploppers are sick. These are all whopper ploppers. Got 130s, they got 110s, got some 90s, 75s. Got everything but the 190. And in the summertime, that's a top 5 bait for me. Throw it before a frog and before a walking bait. It's like my #1 top water bait. So definitely a yay, but I don't throw top water before like July. So honestly, I live in Colorado. It takes a while for our water temps to heat up to where a top water bite is really in play. So it's just kind of how it goes. Total Wolf Den, are you still in here listening? Yeah, Toto. Hopefully that answers your question. Do you like whopper poppers? So 3 chatterbaits that I'd recommend in the pre-spawn: jackhammer, Thunder Cricket, chatterbait CFL. let's move on. Talk about swim baits as kind of our last deal. This is a very broad topic, but as I mentioned, I kind of want to bridge that gap between a spinnerbait and a swim bait. So, one that I'm throwing frequently is like a flashy swimmer or trokar swim blade type of deal. I swear I've got a flashy swimmer here closer. These are both trokars, and these baits are ones that I would throw almost first. Riley says, kinky beaver on a green pumpkin chatterbait, yes or no? Depends on the chatterbait. On that CFL, heck yeah. On a standard chatterbait, perhaps no. I'd go with a trailer with a little bit more action myself. I like that sort of middle action. And I don't throw craw or beaver style trailers that often on chatterbaits. I'm usually trying to imitate a bait fish. So, speaking of bait fish, Toto, thanks a lot, man. Haven't fished them. You haven't fished a whopper plopper? Dog. Hard to find a whopper plopper discounted, but you can't beat them. If you are gonna splurge and get a couple whopper ploppers, I'd get the 75 and the 110. When it comes to versatility, those are your best bets, okay? 75 is the newest and smallest. You can throw it on a spinning rod or on a bait caster. More finessey, but it's got a fatter body and puts out more noise than the 90. That 90, I mean, is just one that you shouldn't be throwing. Fish Addict, you came back in here? Bro. Only spooks, not whopper ploppers. I don't know where you've been fishing. Whopper ploppers will outfish spooks most of the time. Now, that 75 size is sweet because you get the small profile. It's shorter than the 90. Fishing in California. Okay, I mean, each body of water is a little bit different, but there's no reason that you shouldn't be getting bit on a whopper plopper straight up. And there's so many different ways to fish it. I mean, a spook, you're only going to fish it a few different ways. That chugging spook is cool. One with more of a cupped face, you could fish like a popper, or you can walk it. But a whopper plopper you can do a lot with. I would not say Cali sucks for bass. Okay. Underspin on a swim bait, weedless, weighted hook. Okay, this is the 5/0 trokar swim blade, 1/8 ounce with a silver willow blade. This here is the Kitech Swing Impact Fat in the 5.8 inch in the rainbow shad color. And this here is the Megabass Mag Draft Freestyle 6 inch in the albino shad color. When I'm throwing swim baits, I'm trying to imitate a shad or a bait fish of some kind. And I might throw a swim bait as small as 3.3 or 3.8 in size, but ordinarily I'm going to start big and then go small if I have to. So like to go to this middle size initially, unless I'm at a body of water that I know has really big fish, then I might start with something bigger. You know, this is the Megabass 7-inch spark shad next to the 6-inch Mag Draft Freestyle. Look at the size difference there, and look at the action difference. Here's the Mag Draft Freestyle. This is a bait that you do have to fish at a kind of a medium retrieve to get it to do its thing. Okay. The spark shad, on the other hand, has this long tapered tail, which is going to swing much wider. You can fish this thing a lot slower and deeper in the water column. So I've got this on a 8/0 owner beast hook. At least I'm pretty sure. And this is one that I really look forward to using this year. I've got it in 2 different colors for this season, and it should be pretty sweet. My battery's going low on my computer. That sucks. We're going to have to cut this short here in a few minutes. HUDs all day for you, Colin. Okay. Right on, dude. I am pretty excited to fish the new Savage Gear 4D line through pulse tail. I've got a few of those. Where the hell do I even have them? Did you guys see Tactical Basson's video that they put out today? The pulse tail trout has a sick action. Look at that wedge tail. It has just a Huddleston type of action to it, and it's like half the price. This 8-inch is like 17 bucks. This 6-inch is like 13 or 14 bucks. Can you believe how much bigger that 8-inch looks than the 6? It's crazy. But anyway, these are line throughs, so you can put the treble on the belly or on the top. So you can really fish these a few different ways, and that is one that I'm pumped to use this year, just because I like the idea of fishing it down low, grinding bottom. The only Huddlestons that I've got and fish are the 4-inch weedless shad. How are you supposed to fish HUDs when there's weeds on bottom and everywhere? Yeah, no, that's a good point, Fish Addict. You got to fish them high in the water column, which you can. It's just Huddlestons tend to do a little bit better when fished slowly because of their realism. Fish it low and slow on bottom. Give fish enough time. Dude, I would plug it in if I could. Let me see if I got an outlet around here. Alright, if you guys want to hang tight for a minute, I'll go get my charger and we can hang out a little bit longer. Alright? Colin saying it's cool, but HUDs have the rate of fall down. The tail's more subtle on a HUD. Yeah, 68 special. Respect. I almost got one during Black Friday. Not as much about that top hook. Toto, appreciate the compliment. I can hang out a little bit longer if you want. Colin says he doesn't drag HUDs at all. And Fish Addict says he heard that you're supposed to slowly drag them on bottom. No, you can fish them a lot of different ways. I think they just, because of their realism and how well they're made, you can fool a fish who comes up slowly to check it out in cold water and is hesitating on deciding, and they will still munch it as it deflects, as it hits a rock and just has a little bit of erratic movement. I'm going to go get my charger, man. I don't need one from the garage. I will be right back. Okay, 1 minute. Might get another beer too. 1 minute. Mango. Coming, I'm coming. Plugging this B in. Knocking stuff over. Oh, baby. You're timing me. How long was also from upslope? This is the Craft Lager. Going a little bit lighter than that Citra Pale Ale. Tick-tock, tick-tock. You were timing me. How long did I take? 46.6 seconds. My man. Pretty efficient. So, for swim baits, Megabass Mag Draft Freestyle. Awesome value, okay? It comes... Where they at, though? I think you spend 12 bucks on a pack of 2. And it costs more than that. Cheers to you, Colin. Modelo is better. Dude, Modelo is probably one of my go-to light beers. If I'm at a Mexican restaurant, I will get a Modelo Especial all day long. Draft, of course. Man, I wish I had beer on tap here at the house. That would be sweet. So anyway, Mag Draft Freestyle is a bait worth having. But like I said, it is a little bit more speed sensitive. With that tail, it is not a super cold water, super slow moving bait. So it is more made for the upper portion of the water column, maybe a few feet down, say 3 to 5 feet deep. Now, Kitech, on the other hand, is one that you can fish low and slow. It has a much wider action to it. Very soft, very well made. Now, they do rip up a little bit quicker. As you can see, I've only caught a couple fish on this bait, and it wants to slide down the hook, just me showing it to you guys and wagging it. It is like worn out. I'm going to have to rig another one. So anyway, you get 4 in a pack for 10 bucks or 8 bucks if you buy them on Discount Tackle. So you're paying 2 bucks a bait for a 6-inch Kitech, and you're paying 6 bucks a bait for the Mag Draft Freestyle. So I mean, the Mag Draft Freestyle is a great bait, but it's tough to beat a Kitech. That 5.8 inch, like I said, in the rainbow shad is it's up there. Definitely one of the best. Now the spark shad in the 5-inch is one that's pretty wicked too. Fish addict, slide the top of the hook into the plastic. Oh, dude, I've already done that a handful of times, okay? It'll stay for now, but I've already skin hooked it enough times to where it's not going to want to stay too long. Fish addict is just slamming Modelos, isn't he? Now, fine, you make a good point. You could throw some Mend It on that B. This is something that will extend the life of your baits exponentially. So I feel mixed about doing it with cheaper soft plastics like a Kitech swim bait, and I feel much more inclined to do it on the more expensive ones that you might be paying $5, $10, $20 a bait, like those Savage Gears that I was showing you, or a Huddleston. I would definitely use it for that. But for a standard paddle tail, not so sure. Mend It is awesome. Yeah, I got it on hand, bro. So I referenced the tactical bassin video that went live today. Here's a bait that I scooped up a couple colors of this year and intend to throw quite a bit. This is the Scottsboro Tackle hand-poured swim baits. I've got them in a couple sizes. This is the 6-inch in the trout pattern. Just looks like a hand-poured swim bait, right? But the action on these guys is unbelievable. And what's cool is, I doubt you can see, it's got this little hole in the top of the tail. I'm not sure if that's for air or for a rattle, but I think I might shove a rattle in there and see if that makes any bit of a difference. But in the video that Matt and Tim posted today, the Scottsboro had some really good action. Not quite as aggressive as a Kitech, but maybe one of the best paddle tail swim baits that I've seen in action in an underwater video. So how else do you make a swim bait without hand pouring a swim bait? All right, I'm going to stop answering your questions, bro. Vidal, it's nice. What, the Scottsboro? Definitely. My top spinner says, what's the deepest you'd throw a T-rig? I mean, that's tough to answer. 20 feet? I mean, that's all relative. So, not sure if you're still watching, but you could throw a Texas rig in any depth of water you want. Just up the weight, man. You could throw an ounce bullet weight. Throw that down deep, man. Just count it down. But typically with the Texas rig, I am casting shorter distances and to specific pieces of cover. So most of the time for me, it's 5 to 10 feet deep, but you could go much deeper if you wanted. Now Riley's saying Berkeley Chapo 120. That is on my list. I fished the Chapo last year in the, is it a 90 or 100? Forget what the smaller size of the Chapo is. To those of you who haven't fished the Berkeley Chapo, it is a whopper plopper copycat, straight up, but it's made from a much thinner, harder plastic. Puts off a totally different sound profile in the water, and it is louder than a whopper plopper. It is, I like it. Colin's saying he doesn't like it. He doesn't like that hard tail, but I do. It's louder than a whopper plopper is, and they've got just the difference in sizes, right? The 100 is in between the 90 and the 110, so I like it better than the whopper plopper 90, but not as much as the 110. And that 120 is sweet because the whopper plopper 130 is freaking huge. It's heavy. You got to throw it on a heavy power rod for sure. It almost needs a dedicated rod. It weighs like, an ounce and a half. So it'll load up your other rods. You can throw the 110 on almost anything. It's like an ounce, and it's legit. ER is saying you should give away a bait right now. I could. What I was going to ask you guys to do is help me pick out what I should give away for my monthly giveaway, which I'm going to announce like tomorrow. So should I keep it along these lines of what we're talking about tonight and do pre-spawn lures? Should I give kind of 5 different pre-spawn baits away for the month of February? Or I'm feeling a little bit mixed about what it is that I should do in my giveaway. Last month I mixed it with my 5K giveaway. So I gave away a whole bunch of stuff, you know, like $50 worth of baits. But what up, High Ground? How you doing tonight, man? Stephen Pooler, Edgar, you want to help me pick out the baits I'm going to give away? You can enter just like anybody else would on my Instagram page or on YouTube. I am going to open it up on both platforms, but Colin says popper. What are you talking about? High Ground Fishing. We did not talk yet about exchanging baits. You said you were going to send me one of those bladed jigs. Let's trade. Send me a DM after this. You want a lipless and squarebill, or I should throw those in the giveaway? Colin, I'm not going to give away a popper during pre-spawn, man. I'm going to give away topwater stuff in the summer. My YouTube name, hook sets are free. Just no 18 or sorry, no period. You know, on Instagram I'm hooksets.rfree. On YouTube it's just hooksets space r space free. Find me there, subscribe, and look out for that video. There will be a lot fewer entries on YouTube than there will be on Instagram, just because I've only got about 1,000 subscribers on YouTube and over 6,000 followers on Instagram. High Ground, send your address and DM. Did you or did you not? Tell me what you want, and like what could you actually use? What don't you have that is on your list of stuff that you're looking to pick up? Because I know that you, like me, you're running a list at all times, and stuff that you want to pick up. I know you've got a lot of new Ned rig baits. Like the other day, I just picked these up that I know you already have. I saw in your Ned rig box, the Yum Ned Dinger and the Ned Craw. I'm not even into Yum as a company, but I'm always curious about trying new stuff. And based on that tactical bass and video of underwater Ned rig bait footage, that Ned Craw was enough to get me interested for sure. So I know you like the missile baits, Ned Bomb, and a whole bunch of other Ned rig baits and chatterbaits, and we've got similar taste in lures. So send me a couple of baits that are on your list. Like, tell me what it is that you're trying to pick up, and we can trade. Send me some of those Picasso Shockblade Pros, and I'll send you some stuff in return. Okay. Ray says seasonal giveaway sounds great. Yeah, no, I think I'm gonna stick to pre-spawn lures, just because pre-spawn is either starting or has started for pretty much everybody. So we could just hop in and grab kind of one of everything if you want. Missile Baits has killer new colors coming out. Yeah, those core shots and stuff, dude. Those look sweet. All right, man. Ray, how about we throw the Smithwick Rogue Elite 8 in this. It's not a chartreuse and purple. It's a gold and purple color. Really like this one. And now keep in mind, pretty much all these lures that I'm going to give away, if they're open, they've not been used much at all, if at all. So how about we do this one for the jerkbait? Like I said, this guy dives 8 feet deep, has more of a subtle action to it. Comes stock with Gamakatsu hooks on it. This will be the jerkbait. How's that LB500? Tactical Bass and Rack Mezos. Yeah, it's great. You know, I had a couple of them last year and just picked up 2 more from Discount Tackle last week in this month's order. And as I mentioned earlier, it's a sweet bait. Just like with chatterbaits, the way that you'd say the thunder cricket and the jackhammer are kind of 2 of the top baits you got to go to, and then the others are situational. The LB500 should be thrown in there. So earlier I said I think the red eye shad and the Bill Lewis rattle trap are like the 2 best value go-to lipless cranks when it comes to chuck and wind. If you're just in search mode and trying to find pre-spawn bass, but the LB500, if you're gonna yo-yo a lipless crank off the bottom, there's nothing better. So it's heavier at 3/4 of an ounce, and especially in a red cross style pattern, really tough to beat. Only thing is the LB500 still needs the hooks to be changed out. So at 16 bucks, it's pricey, but over at Discount Tackle, you can get them for $12.99, $12.79. All right. No problem. Okay, how about crankbaits? What's your top pre-spawn lure, says Vidal. That's what this whole video has been. We've been on for almost 2 hours. We started with crankbaits. And here's one that I talked about. Ryan, I don't blame you, dude. Go ahead and hit the hay. You have a great rest of your night. Thank you for hanging out. Look out for that giveaway. Might post it tomorrow, maybe Sunday. I'm with my daughters this weekend. My wife's working tonight and tomorrow night. I might be back on tomorrow night. I'll try to give you guys a little bit better heads up. And try to be a little bit more efficient with our time. Didn't realize we'd be streaming for 2 hours tonight. So, Rapala DT-6 in the demon color. Really hard to beat. Boom. I'm throwing that in there. It's in the giveaway. I could do a squarebill, but I think I'm going to keep it to 1 crankbait, 1 jerkbait. Let's go to the lipless. And don't even try. I'm not doing the LB500. But how about we do a red eye shad? I've got a bunch of those, like I said. I will let you guys vote here and now on which of these 3 colors you would want most. So, you know, plastics. Colin, you want me to give away plastics in the giveaway? Or you're just asking pre-spawn plastics? I figured we were talking reaction baits. Now, these are all reds, man. Here's a Rayburn red. Like I said, it's a lighter red with a lighter orange top, or lighter orange belly. It's got some shine to it and some like gold accents. This is the chili red, and it is bright, more day glow, not orange but red, and it's got some red flake on it, so it stands out a little bit more. And then this is the green tomato, I believe it's called. Red on top, chartreuse on bottom. Of those 3, or I guess this chartreuse bait fish, but my guess is you guys would not want that one as your primary. Tell me which of these 3 red-eye shads. High ground says Rayburn red. Anybody on YouTube? There's 10 of you sitting in here. Only 4 thumbs up. Leave a comment. Let me know which of these colors you like best. Green tomato, chili red, Rayburn red. Ray says, it's efficient, bro. Camaraderie is all but lost in today's world. Camaraderie is all but lost in today's world. It's sad. Well, you ain't no number. Give me a vote, man. Which of these red-eye shads would you want if you won? Rayburn gets another vote from Colin. Riley says the Ray. Okay. Rayburn red going in. And it is pretty much in mint condition. Didn't even change out the stock hooks. Which is sad because the other colors I did change out the stock hooks. I can go ahead and do that for you guys. I will throw on some triple grips in the size 4, which is what I upgrade the red-eye shads to. This Rayburn red must be new enough that I haven't thrown it yet. Still has those stock hooks on it. So, okay, lipless down. Ray, you can't vote? You're just a scrub trying to feed up? Come on, man. That's not true. Ah, shit. The chatterbait, guys. This one's tougher, I gotta say. Because I am not going to give you guys a jackhammer or my one thunder cricket. And I feel a little bit weirdly territorial of my new CFLs. I've got kind of one in each color and haven't thrown them yet. I only threw the white one a couple times in early fall, right after I broke my back, and didn't catch fish on it, just given I was fishing shallow. So what should I give as a chatterbait? I mean, do you want to stay red and do this like OG chatterbait in the black and red, or do you guys want something different? Like I said, I don't think I'm going to give you a jackhammer this time, given that I'm giving 5 baits away. If you want, I could do a spinnerbait instead. Do this black and red lunker hunt spinnerbait with a double willow. I'd give that away instead of a chatterbait. Why don't you guys vote between these two? Very similar colors, bold black and red, but you get Z-Man chatterbait. That's a painted blade, so I don't know if it's original or if it's a different one. High Ground says, check out the new Picasso colors of the shock blade you just bought on your page. I will do that after we get off. Kenneth Robertson wants to go live. Riley votes for the spinnerbait. High Ground Fishing says, interesting color for the spinnerbait. So are you guys voting spinnerbait over chatterbait or what? Should I give away spinnerbait or chatterbait? One more vote's going to do it. Spinnerbait, done. Okay? Spinnerbait is in. And the last is swim bait. So I think what we'll do for the swim bait is give away a pack of baits. How should we do this? I don't have any full packs. I'm going to have to figure out how to give away these swim baits properly. I was thinking I was going to give you guys one or two of the hooks to rig these weedless and give you a pack of baits, but now I can't figure out what baits to give you. What up, Taha? Couldn't even catch a bass in Florida on a spinnerbait. Yeah, spinnerbaits are... Alright, I got it figured out. I'm going to time out here in 15 seconds on Instagram to the three of you guys sitting in here. So I'm going to restart this one more time and we're going to finish this off in the next few minutes, okay? Bro, can you believe we've been on here for 2 hours and 1 minute? So there's 8 of you sitting on YouTube. 4 of you have hit the thumbs up button. The other 4 of you, you know who you are. Hit that thumbs up. We've been in here for 2 hours chilling, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate you just literally chilling, hanging out. What up, what up, what up, what up? We are wrapping this bee up right now, and I'm destroying the back of this package for no good reason. I thought it was just part of this. So anyway, what I'm going to give away are some baits that I don't care for quite as much. This is the Bass Pro Speed Shad. You guys know this bait? Looks just like a Kaitak, am I right? I picked these up last year to do a comparison. I ended up getting these in a few different colors and sizes. It's a decent bait, quite frankly. It's got good action. It's got better durability than a Kaitak. The action is not quite as good, but it's good. Only thing is, it doesn't have the scent that a Kaitak does. And like I said, the action's not quite there. And price-wise, everybody just assumed that it's like the Kaitaks are so expensive and everything else is cheaper. The Bass Pro Speed Shad is not cheaper than Kaitaks, especially if you're doing the smart thing and getting your Kaitaks from Discount Tackle. So, Bass Pro Speed Shad is a good swim bait, but not one that I'm buying more of these days. I got it for comparison purposes, and that was that. So, this is the Sexy Shad color in the 4.8 inch, and it's worth having. I'm going to give you one trokar 3/0 swim blade hook to pair up with these 4.8 inch swim baits, and that's going to go in the giveaway. So at least I'm pretty sure this is what we're going to do for the giveaway. Might change my mind, but only because all these baits are already opened. So 1 pack of the Bass Pro Speed Shads and a weedless hook to match. 1 Lunker Hunt red and black spinnerbait, double willow. 1 Smithwick Rogue Elite 8 jerkbait. 1 Strike King Red Eye Shad in the 1/2 ounce in the Rayburn Red. The 1 Rapala DT-6 in the Demon color. That's going to be the giveaway. So look out for that in the next day or 2. Posted both here on Instagram and YouTube. All right, guys. Appreciate you guys hanging out tonight. We've been live for over 2 hours. I got to bounce. Go back upstairs, do some cleaning, organizing, reorganize these baits that I got out and made a mess of, and hit the hay pretty soon. So hope you guys have a great rest of your night or day or whenever you are watching this. If you are rewatching, Ray's asking, have you tried the Divine swim baits? No, man, have not. I like the Divine swim jigs. I like the Divine swim bait jig heads for sure. But the swim baits are one that, last year I had an obsession with trying different paddle tail swim baits, obviously. But even more have been put out this year, and I don't think they're really any better. The one that hit the market recently that I think is worth a look, and you can see underwater footage like from Tactical Bassin, is the River to Sea D-Walker. Real free action on it, really thin tail, but as it's swimming, it like does this bouncing type of action. But I got really into the power bait, power swimmers, and I like all of the Kitex. You're going to see me talk about the Easy Shiner a lot here soon in the early spring. It is a subtle but really solid swim bait. Too bad I don't have any of those unopened. I've got a whole box of them, but it is what it is. So, Iniguez Vidal, gonna have to buy them swim baits. Right on, man. Okay, guys. Kind of a different season in Zimbabwe. It's fall. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, love to talk about that next time. We could talk about fall fishing for bass if that's what you're fishing for. But anyway, guys, I'm going to sign off. Hope you have a great rest of your day, night, whenever it is. Appreciate you hanging out. I will see you in the next one. Cheers.